Okay, so today's chaotic video is all about highlights and tips. And before I go, which is only a week's time now, I decided to grab some other colleagues who have already done the trek to Everest Base Camp in different guises and find out some hints, tips, and also some highlights to look forward to. So joining me, we've got Tim, who you'll recognise from our altitude video. We've got Vanessa, who you'll recognise from the overview. We've got Chloe, we've got Tav, and we've got Angela. And we also have a baby Jacob in the room as well. So you may have a cameo from a baby in a minute. But yeah, I just want to talk about some highlights because there's so much. I know we talked about it being an amazing trip, but I really want to get an idea of what your highlights were. So I asked you beforehand, one of the ones that came out from a lot of people is Goo Valley. So Tav, can you explain what Goo Valley is and why you liked it?
Well, Goo Valley is the valley that you go through where you've got a number of different lakes, known as the Sacred Lakes, if you're doing the Ultimate Everest Trek.
Yeah.
So I did the Ultimate Everest Trek. And Goo, which is one of the biggest highlights, is actually the hill that you climb. I call it hill, it's actually a mountain. That you climb when you're actually in Goo itself. So for me, and I know for you as well, Chloe, climbing up Goo, although really, really hard, because you go from, I think it's about 4,800 metres to 5,300 metres. So it's only a 500 metre climb, but when you're doing it at that altitude, it's obviously quite tough. But the view that you get when you actually get up there, so it's really tough first thing in the morning, is absolutely spectacular. So you see right across to Everest, you see Manaslu, you see Lhotse.
You see right down that valley, don't you, which is incredible because you get all the lakes going down and then you've got the most incredible view of Everest as well over to the side. So it's pretty special.
I think it's definitely one of the best views that you get in the whole of
And what trip was that again? That was...
an Ultimate Everest Trek.
The Ultimate Everest Trek.
We visited that on the Everest the hard way.
Yeah, and Everest hard way, actually. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, Tim, you had a really nice one about the local people. So what made them really special for your highlights?
Yeah. Well, people, when they go to Nepal and the Everest region, they often go there for the mountains. People want to see the Everest view and the Himalaya. But it's actually, for me, one of the most special parts of visiting Nepal and the Everest region are the people. Friendly, warm, welcoming, funny. Great to spend time with. And on an organised trip like a K trip, you'll have a crew with you, you'll have a leader. There'll be local guides, sometimes porters with you, and they're a lot of fun to get to know. And obviously you meet the local people living in villages along the way who run the tea houses. It's, for me, one of the special parts of visiting Nepal.
Excellent. Angela, you had a very special highlight because you got to stay at base camp itself.
Yes, I did. So I ran the Everest Marathon, and you get to camp at Everest Base Camp. And that was... excuse my baby. That was an amazing experience to be able to camp there. You can only camp there if you're climbing one of the big peaks or if you're running the marathon. Bring him in.
Go bring him in.
Listen, so you want to come to Nepal?
You want to come with us, Jacob?
Hey, buddy.
So waking up after lots of snowfall to then go and run the Everest Marathon was my highlight.
Oh, that's great. And Chloe, I know that Goo was your highlight, but you also had a nice one because I like food. About
in Goo, when you get there in the village. One of the highlights was arriving there, being a little bit tired, and getting a rosti, which is massive. So definitely have one of those.
What is the food like, by the way? And what should we expect from the food in the tea houses?
It was a real variety, actually, to be honest. I mean, a lot of the time you have sort of traditional dishes, but most of the time I think it was just... We had lots of garlic soup, I remember that.
Garlic soup.
Yeah, good for altitude. We had lots of sort of noodles and, I think called momos. Pizza. Pizza.
Yeah, a real variety of local dishes and Western dishes as well.
Oh, that's good.
Very good for vegetarians.
And when you up to that...
Yeah.
And as you'll learn from our other videos, it's important to eat. So it's good there's lots of food to it. That's good. Anyway.
Lots of lemon tea.
Oh, and deep fried Mars bars.
Really? Oh, looking forward to that.
Pleasure.
I look forward to that one.
I remember having the best pizza at Gorak Shep.
Really?
when I was up there. Yeah, that was really good pizza.
Well, there's one last highlight, and that's Vanessa, and it's a nice one. It's making friends on the routes.
Yeah.
So you did a trip quite a while ago, wasn't it?
I did.
And you're still in touch with the people.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's special? Why do you think you do create these connections on these trips?
Well, firstly, you've got this whole, oh gosh, it's a group trip. Who are the other people going to be like? Am I going to get on with them? But of course, you're all coming together because it's an objective that you all want to do. You've all got a clear enjoyment or passion for walking, and you want to share that experience and go all together. But you don't know who you're going to meet. But anyway, back in a long time ago now, there was a couple who we still keep in touch with. And we see them quite a few times in the year. And it is just having somebody else other than the person that I went with to share that experience with, to have a laugh, to have a giggle, and to go through, as Tav mentioned, the toughness at times that you'll go through, whether it's really cold and how you're going to prepare at night time to get into your sleeping bag, or how you're going to get up in the morning to make it up Gokyo-ri or Kala Patha, and just have a bit of like fun together about that, really. And it is nice when you come away and you're still in contact with people.
All these years on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think the next thing we need to move on to is a tip that you all kind of have. And Tim, you had some great tips about yaks. And what should I do when I'm faced with a yak?
So yaks are the sort of transport system of the Khumbu area. They're used above 3,000 metres to transport supplies up to the tea houses and take trekkers' bags, and in expedition season take all the expedition supplies up to base camp. But we have to share the trails with the yaks, and it's really important when you hear the yaks coming, because they've got bells attached to them, to move onto the uphill side of the trail rather than the downhill side of the trail, as Tav found out.
When you got
Still here to tell the tale.
They got some pretty big horns as well, so you've got to give them a wide berth and move uphill when you hear those bells.
Excellent. You had a couple of other great ones as well. And just going back to the altitude chat we had previously, was about drinking.
Yeah, keeping well hydrated. So just keep drinking and drink more than you would do at sea level. I think I mentioned in our altitude talk that you need to be looking at drinking at least a litre to a litre and a half more than you would do.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of opportunities. Our teams on Trek provide boiled water for you to drink, and then there's plenty of lemon tea stops and coffee and tea in the morning, breakfast time, soup, lots of soup. But you just keep drinking, and that'll hopefully sort of help you acclimatise and keep healthy.
And take, you can get little effervescent tablets, can't you, that you can put in to flavour your drink as well if you want to. Or juice.
One other thing kind of relating to the altitude that you mentioned to me off camera was about the importance of a buff. And other people mentioned the Khumbu cough as well. So tell me about the buff and the Khumbu cough and how it helps with hydration stuff.
Well, up at that altitude in the Khumbu area, it's very dry, the air. It's a mixture of the altitude and the fact it is a dry climate. And because of that, it can get pretty dusty on the trail. And when you're breathing in that dry air, it can tickle your throat. And you do hear this Khumbu cough throughout the area. It's a pretty familiar noise. And a way to help prevent that is wearing a buff when you're trekking and popping the buff over your nose occasionally, just so you're breathing some more sort of moisture-laden air.
And take some sweets. Because then you'll make friends as well.
And what you'll find is dusty trails when you get groups passing, and particularly the pack animals, the yaks, they can kick up dust. And popping a buff over your nose just helps sort of reduce the amount of dust you're breathing in. So I found it pretty handy, and I think everyone else did.
Go on,
I take a couple of buffs as well, because I wore them around my head as well.
You can pick them up.
Yeah.
Like a Namshi Bazaar, somewhere like that. Go shopping.
Nice excuse to go shopping. I think the other one relating to drinking is something that both Angela, who's currently bouncing around, and Tav mentioned, was the bottle. Now, Tav, you brought your bottle in. Explain this lovely pink bottle.
This is actually, 6 years old now? Yes, so basically it was a little tip that someone gave me before I went, because the cooks and porters boil all the water for you in the evening. And I've got a good sturdy Nalgene bottle, which is like tasteless, so whatever you put in it, you don't get the taste from it. And I put, you can either wrap it with sort of like bandages or a bit of neoprene, like a bit of yoga mat or something like that to give it a bit of insulation. And then just order some fancy duct tape, which actually is really handy to like wrap around walking poles and things like that as well when you're away. And then cover it in fancy duct tape. And the reason it's really handy was because two reasons. One was when they've got all of everyone's Nalgene bottles or everyone's water bottles lined up, there's like sometimes 50, 20, 30, 40, whatever of them. And a lot of them just look exactly the same. Whereas, I mean, I wish I took a picture. Not going to lose mine. So that was really handy. But also they fill it with boiling water in the evening. So you can use it as a hot water bottle when you get into bed at night. And then by the morning, obviously it's cooled down. So you've got nice warm water in the morning when it's still quite chilly. And throughout the day it cools down. So it gives a really good sort of all-round.
And you mentioned about getting ready for bed because Angela, you had it in your highlights as a bit of a. What did you like to do when you got in? Your tip for when you get in.
So, just shows I like to be organised with things. So when I get to the lodge, when I get shown to my room, I'll go and unpack a bit, sort my kit out a bit, and then have a bit of a wash if I can, maybe even a shower, and then get changed, but put on my long thermals that I'm going to sleep in, and then put and then put some normal trekking clothes back over on the top, and then go downstairs and join everyone and have the tea and snack and evening meal and things. And then when you go back upstairs to get ready for bed, the rooms aren't heated, so I can just take off my outer layer of clothing and I'm already in my sleeping thermals that are nice and warm. Just get to my sleeping bag with my hot water bottle. And then, I think...
And cosy and warm for the night.
It works for me. It's a nice way of...
Because there's that angle there, they are quite cold. I've looked at the weather forecast. It is minus 20 at Hampshire Bazaar at the minute, so it is pretty cold out there. But Vanessa, you had a great concept of what to do when walking around the huts, basically.
Yeah, so getting back to keeping warm, not necessarily forgetting into your sleeping bag, because we've talked about fluffy socks, like they're quite good for keeping you warm. But I bought some down booties really cheaply from Hampshire Bazaar. I can't remember who recommended them, maybe the guide or somebody like that, so I picked them up. And they kept your feet warm. You could walk into the dining rooms with them, you could walk to the toilets in them, because they've got quite a sturdy bottom to them, and they were just a great thing to pick up, really. Along with my Everest gilet from Hampshire as well, branded. Get it in because I do still have it today.
I do have a slight concern that I'm just going to go get to Hampshire and buy lots of kits and come back with lots more gear.
And painting.
And you need to get your Nepal woolly hat with a little drop down, the little tie there to keep your ears warm.
But the last tip was very useful for us as millennial grammars of what was your tip? Chloe, what was your tip with battery?
In terms of also keeping warm, but keeping batteries warm. So when batteries get cold, their battery will go really, really quickly. The power will go. So if you've got your phone, or especially if you've got a battery that's separate from your camera, keep it in the inside pocket of your down jacket or something like that. But also keep it in the inside of your sleeping bag at night so that it keep it warm. And then hopefully you will still have battery power.
Also, because if you don't have a picture of it, it didn't happen.
Exactly.
If you can't live stream it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So some of the huts you can, some of the tea houses you can charge, but it's not always guaranteed.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice to just keep the battery power.
And taking a battery bank as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, keeping it warm.
Well, guys, thank you so much for the highlights and tips. So much. I've got a lot to kind of digest and prepare for. But yeah, looking forward to it. I'm only 10 days till I fly out. I know. Very much looking forward to it. Exactly. I'll leave you guys here. But thank you, everybody, for watching this video. If you have any questions, please do send them through to the office, as always. But again, thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot. And cheers.